It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Monday, June 17th. We are at Monday already. We did it. We went through a weekend. It went like this. Fastest weekend I can remember in a very, very long time. But that just means that I'm here faster for you guys. I get to hang out with my dosers, my love beans. All of you guys that are already in the live chat. Thank you so much for being here. Reminder, subscribe below here on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to leave me a 5-star rating and a review. It means the world. I can talk about this a little bit later because a couple different podcasters have been talking about the barrage. So we'll get into all of that. It does have to do with Jersey. We're going to talk about Jersey. We're going to have to talk about Bethenny because when is she not in the news? We're going to recap the whole situation between Kenya Moore and Real Housewives of Atlanta. And, whatever else comes to mind, all on today's Daily Dose of Donna. Welcome in. Join the party. Join the party. My party's fun. It doesn't have a cutout of Joe Gorga with, his balls and lemons posted on top of it. It doesn't have that, but we've got a lot of other fun things over at this party. In the meantime, how was all of your incredible Father's Days? Father's Days is a tricky day. Fathers and Mother's Days are always a little bit tricky because, as you know, there's certain people that are maybe a little bit like sad about Father's Day, whether it's your own father or maybe the father of your children. And who knows what exactly your surrounding is around these big, like kind of Hallmark holidays. But even if you don't have a great relationship with your dad or you have some kind of negative, sad, or maybe, a father passed, it's a nice remembrance of the dads around the world. I try to focus, like, even though I don't have a good relationship with my father, I have a great relationship with my stepdad. And I love him so much. And of course, Lance is a great dad. And so I honored them yesterday. And also, I spent the whole weekend at the baseball field. And there's nothing cuter than seeing these little league dads. I feel like all the coaches and all the dads, they're so invested, they're so into it. And it's funny because we were at a tournament yesterday that had we won the game in the morning, we would have stayed for the next game and then stayed for the next game. And we lost in a nail biter. We lost the first morning game. So that means I was actually home by midday. But I thought to myself, if we were here all day, like this could have been our Father's Day. And I don't think Lance would have wanted to spend it any other way. Like he's out of town because he's working on a show. But he just, nothing makes him happier than just seeing his kid play sports. And I guess that's the cool thing about being a parent. Nothing makes us happier than watching our kids happy and excel. And so happy Father's Day to all of you dads and all of you people out there. Okay. Father's Day was spent, interestingly, by a lot of the Bravo cast. I didn't really spend a lot of time, deep diving Terry Dubrow or like any of the dads, but I saw some people kind of pop up in my feed. Like Andy Cohen always has some cute videos with Ben, his son, in the car. So he had a cute one with him. And then I randomly saw Jax Taylor. Jack showed up in my feed. And I noticed on Jax's pictures, so he was with his son, Cruz, and they were at some sort of hotel. I don't know, some Hilton hotel by the beach, I think local. And he hadn't posted on his stories anything of Brittany. In fact, from what I think, remember how he did after the Valley wrapped? Or like right before the Valley wrapped, he was like, well, you wouldn't believe who she's been sleeping with the last 4 months. And then he deleted that tweet at 3 a.m. And then he posted that picture of Cruz sleeping in the bed and Brittany's hair was like in the background, like the back of her body. So it was so confusing. Like, wait, you're sleeping with Brittany? Wait, is Brittany home? Is she sleeping with you? Listen, they are together on a vacation. I think it's like a staycation. I feel like they're somewhere in Southern California. I didn't do all the research, but Um, on his stories, he was posting well, he was posting pictures of he and his son. But what I noticed, and this is such a stupid little, like, detail that I picked up on, but what I noticed was all the pictures of him and Cruz were taken from someone else. Like, they weren't a lot of selfies. I think there was, like, maybe one selfie in the group, whereas Brittany, because then, of course, I ran over to Brittany's account. I was like, Brittany, are you with Jax?" And, of course, she was. So, let's actually look at them together. Um, what was interesting is that neither he or her posted pictures of each other, just of the kid. So, as you can see, 21 hours ago, it's a picture. Now, this is so silly, but it's a picture of him and the baby, right? Or the son. And obviously someone took the picture. So he's with someone, right? Obviously. And then pictures of him, the little kid. Again, pictures of him and the kid. Um, and like the view, okay? It's all pictures of him and his kid. And they're taking most of them from somewhere else. Someone else took the picture. So then, of course, I went to Brittany and I was like, Brittany, are you with Jax? And sure enough, but look at this. Now, maybe I'm crazy, you guys, that I pick up on these things. But notice he didn't take a picture of her. She took a selfie of her. She took a selfie of her and him. She didn't post from what I saw. I mean, this was 22, 21 hours ago. So from what I saw, and tell me if I'm wrong, I didn't see that she posted a Happy Father's Day towards Jax, even though they were together. But isn't that so strange that, like, I wonder if he's like, "Hey, Brittany, take a picture of me and Cruz," or does she just do it because she's so sweet and she, like, wants a good memory of her son and his dad? And then when it comes to her pictures, he probably, like, doesn't even think about it. Probably walks away. He's like, "Whatever, you're with the baby. Take your own picture." Um, Stassi, former Vanderpump Rules, Stassi Schroeder posted such a sweet post to her man, her husband, Bo. I love Stassi and Bo. I'm convinced they will be on a show again. I don't know if it's going to be Bravo or if it's going to be another network. But to me, they seem like, I mean, part of me doesn't want them to go back on reality TV because I feel like if they do go back on reality TV, it's just like what good can come from it? Honestly, what good can come from this stuff? But I know that she has said on interviews before, I can't remember which show I was listening to, but she said maybe Jeff Lewis or something, where she said, I think, down the line reality. But what kind of show can Stassi and Bo be in that doesn't exploit them as a couple and, like, put them in nefarious situations where they argue, they fight, and they have drama with each other? It's just almost impossible. I really, what would you guys do if you were married and you had the star power to get a reality show and people wanted to give you a reality show, meaning you would get a hefty, hefty, hefty paycheck? At what point do you realize it's worth it, even knowing the stress it's going to put our family under, the drama that's going to be created, the things people are going to talk about us, et cetera, et cetera? At what point is it worth it? Um, I think, to me, it's tough. Money is so important in our world, right? Like we all need to make a living. We all need to be able to provide for our families. And especially here in Los Angeles. I mean, Stassi and Bo live in Los Angeles. They send their kids, at least I'm pretty sure they send, um, yeah, I think she's already in preschool, their oldest. Like preschools are so expensive here in Los Angeles and it doesn't go away. Like they live up in the Hollywood Hills. They're going to be sending their kids to private schools, no question. So the question is, at what point do you start to realize like it's worth it? We can make it through. Now, if I were to join a reality show that I know, and I know the way these things work, they need drama. So you need to have issues with your spouse. There is no way that you're going to be able to go on a show no matter what and be drama free. I would like go to a therapist before the 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 beginning of the filming process. And I would say, like, we need to meet with you 3 times a week. through this so we can create the show, but also make sure we're in a good place. That's how I feel. 'Cause I just like them so much. I don't want them to expose themselves in a negative way. Um, Billy in the comments says, "Oh my God, Donna, did you hear Taylor Strecker and her wife auditioned for Housewives of New Jersey? I did not hear that, and I am in shock over that." So for those of you that don't know who Taylor Strecker is, I'm surprised. I think most of this audience would know who she is. She's a podcast host. She used to be a host on Sirius Radio for years and years. And she's best friends with Stassi. So she opened for Stassi on her live tour, and she does an episode like probably once a week with Stassi. But she is a later in life lesbian. She was married to a man. Now she's a lesbian and she's married to another Taylor. So it's Taylor Strecker, Taylor Donahue. And they're beautiful, they're cute, they're fun. And I think her podcast is called Taste of Taylor, right? It's called Taste of Taylor. Anyway, I guess she auditioned for New Jersey, which is wild because I cannot see them fitting in by any means, not even at all. If anything, she should have auditioned for New York. Like, I just do not see her on Jersey. Okay, Taylor said it on Stassi's podcast last week. We're going to talk about Jersey in just a moment. We're going to talk about it because you guys, I watch Jersey and I feel like I'm in high school. I really do. Like, I feel like I'm back in high school with all the high school shit and drama. It's so he said, she said, gossip girls. Like, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. It was a good episode. I will give you that. It was a good episode, but it actually like makes me anxious to think about these older women. And I say older, not calling them old, but they're older than me, right? So I'm 43. And I don't know how I could handle this if I was going to parties and like sending text messages and showing this person, you said this about this person. But they're like 60. Like, I guess you do it for the paycheck. I guess that's what it comes down to is for the paycheck. You do it for the paycheck. And like, we'll get into the Jersey of it in just a moment. I just wrapped watching it this morning. So that's why I think I'm very heavy on Joyzy. Okay, you guys, I want to remind you that this week's podcast is brought to you by my favorite hair care, and that's Lola V. As you know, through the summer, we all put our hair through the ringer, coloring, heat styling, stress aging, and the list goes on. And now we've got the summer elements to battle too. We're talking about the sun beach and the ever-present humidity. Jennifer Aniston founded this award-winning hair care line called Lola V. That's Lolavie, pronounced Lola V. And Jen Aniston herself, just Jen, she got tired of that damage and the struggle of having to choose between hair products that work and ones that are actually good for us. So she's decided to create what she was looking for. Lola V is your ultimate summer hair saver. And for you guys, you get an exclusive 15% off your entire order at lolav.com. Just use code DANA at checkout, DANA. I mean, if you're taking hair care advice, why listen to anyone besides the woman who gave us the Rachel? So go to lolav.com, use code DANA, DANA, and you can get 15% off. If anything, try these products one time just to get the smell. They smell so gorgeous. And the bottles, maybe I'll bring them downstairs tomorrow when I do my show. I have to see if I have anything around here. I got the whole line. They have an oil, they have a glossing detangler, they have a leave-in conditioner, they of course have shampoo and they have a hair mask, whatever. And it's this beautiful, very kind of clean, lined, simple black and white bottles. They would look really great in a beautiful powder room, guest room, whatever. Okay. So thanks, Jen. Jen Aniston and I were just besties. I was at a workout this morning. It was so funny. I was at a workout this morning, and one of the women that I work out with, she is a server, a waitress, a server at the Polo Lounge. And she has been working there for years. She is, not a 20-year-old waitress. She's older than me. She looks phenomenal. She has the best body, best hair. She's just gorgeous. But she works at the Polo Lounge, and she always gives me the stories the next morning. She's like, guess who I saw last night? Guess who was in there last night? She sees a lot of J-Lo. She sees a lot of Kyle Richards. She sees a lot of the Kardashians. We talked this morning about plastic surgery, and she said that the Kris Jenner looks phenomenal in real life. Because she says a lot of people in real life look so different than they even look in their pictures that you see, on like tabloids or websites or whatever. She says Kris Jenner's work is phenomenal. She sees J-Lo all the time. J-Lo is gorgeous. I'm not surprised by that at all. And then she mentioned Jennifer Aniston. We talked about Jennifer Aniston. Oh, she says Kyle Richards comes in a lot, and Kyle Richards looks amazing too. But she said that Jennifer Aniston looks so good. And I said, well, I saw pictures of Courtney Cox's 60th birthday party this weekend. Isla Fisher, that's obviously Sacha Baron Cohen's ex. She's friends with these women. Like there's this like group of these women that are all really close. I think it's like Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, Lisa Kudrow, of course, the Friends women, Krista B. Miller, who is the actress that was on Scrubs. She's married to the creator of Scrubs. She was on Cougar Town with Courtney Cox. Isla Fisher's in that group. Kyle Richards is in that group. There's a lot of these women. Laura Dern. I'm trying to think who else is like in that crew. Sandra Bullock. It's like just the most incredible, beautiful, like gorgeous women above 50. I think they're pretty much all above 50, right? Do you think Isla Fisher is above 50? I don't know. Anyway, the point is they all spent Courtney Cox's birthday together. And I said, Courtney Cox looks great. And I did hear from someone who sees her often that she does seem like a little too filled in the cheeks. Filler is one of those things that like it's not easy to dissolve, I guess. So once you do get filler and it like puffs up your cheeks and it gives you kind of like that plastic surgery look, I guess it's really hard to like reduce it or whatever. Isla is 48. Thanks, Hillary. So, anyway, they all celebrated Courtney Cox's birthday this weekend, including Kyle Richards and Morgan Wade. So Morgan Wade was finally spotted again with Kyle Richards. It's been a while. We haven't seen them together. I mean, we saw them a couple weeks ago, maybe like on a walk or something, but they looked gorgeous, both of them together. And it brings up a couple interesting thoughts because there were some pictures yesterday that were released. I saw, I'm trying to think how I can find, I know one account that posted it, but they're very pro Kyle. So I don't know if I want to post that, but if I have to, I will. Anyway, Kyle Richards was spotted yesterday filming and she was gay. And in these pictures, she looked very upset. She was crying. Oh, here it is, Daily Mail. That's a better than a very pro Kyle account because I don't want to, Okay, here is the article. It says Kyle Richards breaks down in tears while filming new season of Real Housewives with Dorit Kemsley amid friendship rough patch and that Mauricio Umansky split. And if you see the pictures, you see Kyle sitting. She's wearing a robe, like a spa robe, and she's clearly upset. She looks like she's crying in this picture as she's walking with Dorit. Dorit is wearing white pants under her robe. That's an interesting look. Here's another one where, Kyle clearly looks upset. You can tell Kyle cry. You can tell the Kyle cry face from like a mile away. You know that face. We all are very comfortable with that face. Looks like Erica, Jennifer Tilly. Here's a cameraman. So they were definitely filming in this moment. Someone was like, I wonder what she's crying about. Listen, Kyle is a crier. When has Kyle like not cried on a season of Real Housewives? She cries all the time. Yes, Mark says, yes, on the next season, we get to see something that we have never seen before. Kyle crying in the wild. She's a crier. She cries on every season. Kyle crying. I guess it's a Kyle thing because Kyle Cook cries. Kyle Richards cries. I don't know if I know a lot of other Kyles. My first boyfriend's name was Kyle. It was a boy, obviously, but I used to want that name before I started dating my first boyfriend. And was it elementary or high school. Yeah, he was high school. When I was younger, I was like, it would be so cool to have a name that sounded like a boy's name or a girl's name. Like I wanted to be Jordan or Kyle. Anyway, Kyle always is a crier. So what could she be crying about? I don't know. The million things going on in her life. She could be crying about the struggle of the divorce. Like, who knows what's actually happening between her and Mauricio? We haven't heard that they actually filed or anything, but like he's living apart from her. So maybe that's tough. Maybe something happened to her dog. Maybe she's having drama with one of her sisters. I mean, she literally could be crying over anything. Now, Morgan Wade was at this party too, and they looked beautiful together in the pictures. I will say, to me, eh, knowing that Morgan Wade is still incredibly close with um with Kyle on this next season, where she promised that she was going to open up and share all the things. My question is for you guys, do we think that we're going to not just get another Morgan Wade appearance on the show, but do you think we're going to like really get into the Morgan Wade Kyle friendship? Here's pictures Face Reality 16 posted. Of course, here's Courtney and Isla on the left, and then on the right is Krista Miller, Isla Fisher, Kyle Richards looking really beautiful, and Morgan Wade looking really beautiful. Um, yeah, that's it. So we'll see what happens. Now, what's really funny is Isla Fisher did tag Morgan Wade Daily, which is her fan page, which probably made them so incredibly happy if they were running Morgan Wade Daily. All right. Now, let's talk about other things. Guys, I hate to do it, but we have to talk about Bethenny. We have to talk about Bethenny because she brought up something, Bethenny's middle name should be Hypocrisy. She's the most hypocritical person in the world. Bethenny had the Chanel fallout. Remember, do you guys remember Bethenny and Chanel? If you don't, you were like in a medically induced coma for the last month. Bethenny was not let into Chanel. She didn't have an appointment. And then she went back the next day. As you know, she dressed up head to toe Chanel, got right in. It's a big mistake, huge. Then went on to create 475,000. I hear that's actually an underestimate. She created 475,000 TikTok videos about this. And she's still going. Rumor has it that right now, as we speak, Bethenny is creating a TikTok about Chanel and Kyle's crying about it. This is just a rumor. Oh, and Kyle Cook is throwing a Loverboy can somewhere at this moment right now. And Kyle and Carl Radke bought himself a worse pair of sunglasses. This is just rumor. Okay. This is just what the people in the Bravo land are saying. I didn't write it. I'm just sharing with you what they told me. Okay. Bethenny Frankel slams luxury brands in the news. Bethenny Frankel slams luxury brands for exploiting women as she urges people to buy knockoffs instead of the real thing. Okay. Okay. Bethenny, the queen of um, you know, luxury brands. Obviously, she talks a lot about the the dupes and buying things at CVS. And that was like her big thing with the makeup. You don't need to spend all your money on Chanel makeup. You can buy e.l.f. makeup. Fine, cool. But now she's decided to go all in, saying, to her followers, saying that even though she owns a plethora of Hermes and Chanel bags herself, she says that now she's giving permission to everyone to wear knockoffs. You guys, now that Bethenny said it, won't you do it? Like I was gonna buy a knockoff last week, and then I thought, but Bethenny hasn't given me the permission. But now I think I can go back and buy it, right? She says, why do I give you permission to wear knockoffs? Because I think that the luxury brand space has reached the point of exploitation, exploiting the insecurities of women, where they're going to feel whole or secure if they can flex a shopping bag that contains something that costs $50 maximum to make, that costs tens of thousands of dollars. It's maddening how hypocritical this woman is. It's like pull out hair maddening. The former Real Housewives of New York star stated that this was just insane. Compared it to the makeup industry. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard of makeup that's costing like $10,000. But okay. Frankel noted that nowadays many drugstore beauty brands are making dupes of some of the popular products, obviously. But she noted that in the fashion industry, it's not the same, as people typically look down upon dupes or knockoffs. There are some brands that are expensive but haven't gone off the total deep end, like I think Valentino does a good job. She says, I can afford anything I want. And I've gotten to the point where some of the crazy, insane, expensive pieces I know, it's an insult to everyone's intelligence. And I won't let you do that. She urged people to buy what they want and wear what they like with pride. This is a woman. This is a woman who does so many TikToks. Have you seen those TikToks where she's like, out to dinner with Bryn tonight? Hermes, Chanel, Gucci, Valentino, Balenciaga, Prada, this. I mean, I don't even know what other stores there are. That's all she does. Like, she has so many videos where she literally, like, tells you every single piece of jewelry that's on her wrist and then says, like, going out to dinner with Bryn. In fact, like, I always found it very off-putting because I'm not a label person at all, A, because I can't afford it, and B, I've never been someone that's into designer labels. Like, if I have money saved for something special, it's not gonna be on something, that says Chanel across the top. Like, it's just not. So I have actually bought knockoffs before. I don't wear the knockoffs that often, but I do own a couple, like really well-made knockoffs that are still a couple $100, but it's just so fake. It's like, why does she decide to take on these things? Is it now now it's the Chanel reckoning, right? It was the reality reckoning, then it was the makeup reckoning, now we have luxury reckoning. And is it because Chanel didn't give her the time of day? Is it because after all of her pleading and dying for attention from Chanel, I think she was hoping and praying that Chanel was gonna send her, like, the most gorgeous, most insane $20,000 purse, being like, "I am so sorry that you experienced this." And they didn't. Like, I don't think Chanel has even touched the topic. And so does that bother her now? Is this what's going on? And by the way, like, I don't think you have to in any way buy the labels. It's just don't promote the label stuff all day long every day and then all of a sudden be like, this is crazy. Don't do it. It's like Bethenny being on reality TV and then saying reality TV is crazy. It's like Bethenny saying TikTok and social media is crazy. You should never share all your thoughts, feelings. And then every day she's eating a new wrap with us, telling us something. It's just bananas. Um, she says Frankel said that she used to wear brands like Vince Camuto and Steve Madden and even showed viewers a pair of beige braided sandals she had bought that were dupes of a pair by Bottega Veneta, a brand that increases their prices from 5 to 10,000 in a matter of years when the bag costs $50 to make, which I don't think is true. I think it's got to cost more than $50, like a leather bag. All bets are off with you wanting to wear any knockoff you want, the former reality star said. Like, I would love for someone to knock off a Bethany product and see what she would say. Like, I want someone to go on their Instagram right now and say, "Guys, I just bought Skinny Girl turkey, and I'm telling you, I found a better knockoff. It tastes just like Skinny Girl. It uses all the exact ingredients. It's half the price. And it's called, I mean, what should it be called? Like thin woman, thin woman turkey. You do not need to buy Skinny Girl turkey. All you need is, oh yeah, Mark said it best. This is what it is. And if you're not watching the YouTube, it's called Skinny Girl. Skinny, SKEENY GURL. Skinny Girl. No, it should be like Skinny Girl, like GRL. I don't like hypocrisy. Okay, let's keep it going. Speaking of that, you guys, what about this story? This is kind of wild. Armie Hammer breaks silence on his cannibalism accusations and says, I'm really grateful for it. According to page 6, hold on, let me pull. up here. If you guys don't remember, Armie Hammer, of course, is the actor that, his whole career basically was imploded a few years ago because he had all these crazy, text messages and messages between him and all these women that he used to date come out that are, you know, I mean, they call them cannibalism. A lot of them had that note, but they were very aggressive. They were very almost abusive. They felt very kind of like he was into violence in like a sexual manner. It was wild. Now, like for example, one of his ex-wives or ex-girlfriends, Courtney Vucekovich, in 2021 said that the actor Armie Hammer told her he wants to break my rib and barbecue and eat it. I mean, listen, I would never say that to an adult, although when my kids were younger, I am like chubby. When the babies are like chubby. I used to take Oliver's chubby arm and be like, like not actually bite on it. I would like make him laugh, like with my lips. Like, I was like, I want to eat you with hummus. I just wanted to eat them. But I think that's kind of normal to say about your kids. Please someone tell me I'm normal. In this week's Bravo news, Donna says something that completely eviscerates her in the world of America because they think she is now a cannibal. I just want to eat my baby's arm. Um, okay, child cannibalism is okay. Oh, thank God. No, it's not actually cannibalism. It's just your own children. And it's just like you want to like mouth their arms, their chub, and their thighs. Like when they have the rolls. Like Oliver legit looked like he had rubber bands going up his arms. I was just like, oh my God, what is in breast milk? Like it is beautiful. Okay, let's maybe did I eat something interesting in my breakfast this morning? What's happening? So, okay, Armie Hammer was on the Painful Lessons podcast on Sunday. I do not listen to it. I have no idea who this person is, but that was the podcast. And he says, people called me a cannibal and everyone believed them. They're like, yep, that guy ate people. Like, what? What are you talking about? Do you know what you have to do to be a cannibal? You have to eat people. How am I going to be a cannibal? It was bizarre. Huh? Hammer said that there were discrepancies in whatever it was people said, adding that he's now at a place in my life where I'm grateful for every single bit of it. I'm actually now at a place where I'm really grateful for it because I was in my life before all of that stuff happened to me and I didn't feel good. I never felt satisfied. I never had enough meat. I was never in a place where I was happy with myself, where I had self esteem. He said, I never knew how to give myself love. I never knew how to give myself self validation. But I had this job where I was able to get it from so many people that I had never had to learn how to give it to myself. Obviously, his marriage to his wife, Elizabeth Chambers, who happens to be the star of that show that we watched like 5 seconds of. What was that show called? Was it on, what was it on? Was it on Peacock or Hulu? I can't remember the name of the show, but it was like in you guys are gonna remember for me. It was one of those it was like an island, a gorgeous island. And now I can't remember what it was called. I watched 2 episodes or 3 episodes. Cayman. Yeah. Grand Cayman? Grand Cayman? By the way, you have to say Cayman. That's how they say it. They don't say Cayman, they say Grand Cayman. Um Which looked beautiful, but I couldn't get into it at the time. Maybe now we can watch it because there's really nothing else to watch except these, like, silly reality shows, so we're gonna all open up and watch a ton of different shows that we've never watched before, okay? Tonight, we're watching Cannibal 101. Um, just kidding. So he also lost his marriage at that time. He said it was an ego death, a career death. A neutron bomb went off in my life. It killed off everything. He was feeling suicidal at the time. There were a lot of times when I thought I can't take this anymore. I was getting hate, so I just went right in. There was a time. He goes, I was standing at the shore. I swam out really far and just laying there, a half-assed attempt, unaliving attempt, but I thought I couldn't do that to my kids. And he admitted now his acting career is nowhere, but he's creating his own sandbox by writing a screenplay. Listen, I am not going to judge, like, I'm not sitting here and saying, like, we have to forgive Armie Hammer or we don't have to forgive Armie Hammer. I just think whenever you get caught up in something that's really horrible and tragic and awful, and you get, your world implodes, right? We see this so many times. We saw it with Sandoval. We see it with Armie Hammer. We've seen it with Kevin Spacey. We've seen it with all these like huge men in the Me Too movement. We see it like any of these big cancellations or whatever. I like to believe that as long as you can truly be remorseful and like actually make the reparations, do the time. So whether that's jail for some, whether that's like, having to like kind of disappear from the public eye, whatever. I think it's a case by case whether or not you can be like accepted back into society or if people want to accept you back in. And I don't know. I don't know. I personally do not like to say that if you've ever, I mean, I guess it depends on the case, right? Like there's certain things that are just completely like you can't walk past that. You can never like move on from the fact if you did something awful, for example, like to children or murdering or um animal abuse. Like there's certain things that are just so far, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. Trisha says, so I must live in a box and come out when Housewives and Summer House is on. But who the heck is Armie Hammer? So Armie Hammer was an actor. He was in Call Me by Your Name. He was in I remember Armie Hammer. Am I crazy? Didn't he play the twins, the Vandervoss or Vanderhoss twins in Social Network? Did I make that up? I remember Social Network being the movie with uh it was about the creation of Facebook with Jesse Eisenberg and with Justin Timberlake. And I think they played like he played twins, the two twins that kind of like stole it from him, or they had all that drama. That was a great movie. Was that not what a great movie? And I don't know if you guys remember when Fleischman is in Trouble came out. That's a Jesse Eisenberg mini. It was a mini series. It was based on a book and it was on HBO. I want to say HBO. And it was Jesse Eisenberg and Claire Danes. And when I tell you, this was one of my favorite shows of all time. Where now that we're going into summertime and we don't have that much to watch, I think I'm going to do a rewatch of Fleischman. It was so well done. I thought it was so um just like indicative of like life in your 40s, married life, single life. Like I just loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Hulu. Thank you guys. If you haven't watched that, make sure to watch it. Billy says Megan Edmonds is really catching heat. So I have not seen anything since the original story that I reported last week about Megan King Edmonds, Biden, Jesus the third. She's has 16 last names, but she got all this crazy heat for being, abusive towards like baby birds and baby squirrels and just like completely disregard. Now, I will tell you guys something awful. Remember, I told you guys about the baby bird, the dead baby bird that was found in my living room, in my kitchen, not kitchen, in my dining room a couple weeks ago. Lance had just gone out of town. The day after Lance goes out of town, my cat brings me a present in the form of a dead baby bird. Well, I have a horrible story to tell you. This morning, as we were going to camp and we were walking out to the car, my son, who went around to the passenger side, goes, oh, holy shit. Okay, he's 9, but he says it sometimes. And he said, there's another baby bird. And it was unfortunately, well, actually, I was happy it was dead because I was worried it was going to be alive and like in really bad shape. But another baby bird on the floor right on my driveway. So like either Megan King Edmonds is like coming over at night and like doing something to my animals, or it's an apocalypse, or I mean, what else? What else could it be? I don't like it. I'll tell you that. I don't like it. Mark wants to know if I ate the baby bird. Mark, you sicko. Armie Hammer did. Okay. Wow. Wow. What kind of a person do you think I am? I guess Megan King Edmonds is doubling down in the comments about the fact that when people are calling her out for being, a bird killer, etc. Unreal. Sidecar Coaching says Rick and Kelly mentioned you this morning and said you gave a great interview. That is so sweet. We had, I don't know if I talked about it on the show or I just talked about it on my Patreon, but last week, Rick and Kelly asked to interview me for their Patreon. And so it was really great. I've talked to them before. This was my first time actually doing something with them for their show. And they were so sweet. They were just asking me about like casting and just my past. And then we talked about Real Housewives. Actually, they pulled up a scene from Real Housewives from last week's episode, the Dolores and Polly scene, the Tink. Do you think what I'm saying is not true? And it was actually really sweet. We talked about that. So let's get into Joyzy. You guys ready to get into Jersey? I just watched it this morning. Yes, the truth is I could have watched it last night, but I chose Love Island. I am not fully up. I think I have one more episode of Love Island to catch up. I feel like it was on 3 or 4 nights last week, and now it's only going to be on 2 nights a week. I can't remember the exact schedule. But I also watch Perfect Match all weekend. And Perfect Match, if you haven't watched it, it's on Netflix. I am going to recap the show. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. This is your warning. Okay. Perfect Match, 9 episodes are out. There's going to be a 10th episode, the final episode that's coming out on the 21st, which I want to say is Friday. It is so good. So good. I got so into it. Like that was my Friday night. I put a mask on, I was doing a puzzle and I was watching Perfect Match and I was like, this is literally perfection. And I was eating my Jess Meats dinner, which by the way, I'm getting a new box from Jess Meats. And you guys really are interested in that Jess Meats situation. And I have a 15% off code at Jest. If you use Jest Donna B, Dana, it is such like it's phenomenal food. I'm so excited for it because I've gotten some other meal plans in the past, and this is the one that I will 100% enjoy and eat, and my kids will eat. Okay, let's move on. Okay. So, Jersey. I want to know your guys' thoughts. The episode started with Rachel Fuda and John Fuda's walking away from their lunch, their meeting with Teresa and Louis. This is how we wrapped last week's episode. In this episode, as you can remember in that last scene, Teresa and Louis come. John Fuda comes in hot. And when I say hot, I don't mean in a positive way. I'm sorry. I liked him as a person when I met him. He follows me on Instagram. He seems like a good enough guy. I know Kate Casey interviewed him last week, and I heard the interview was really good. I have not listened to it. Also, by the way, what was I going to say? I was going to say that Kate Casey mentioned this, and this is a really interesting thought. And this goes back to why it's so nice to leave positive reviews on the podcasting side. Kate Casey is, one thing I think everyone can agree about Kate Casey is that she's a really good interviewer. She's very, like she takes these reality shows and she Diane Sawyers them up, if you know what I mean. She like treats them very seriously intellectually. She talks about a lot of like more higher quality projects. And she brings on a lot of producers. She's been doing this for a long time. And so she's a very popular podcast. Her podcast is always in the top, 50 or so on the TV and film side. And she mentioned on her Facebook yesterday that she interviewed John Fuda. And because of the fans, and the fans out there are wild when it comes to the Teresa stans, the tree huggers, right? They love Teresa so much that because she interviewed John, he didn't even bring up Teresa in the interview, I think, as far as I could see from what she said. She didn't place her own opinions. She just interviewed him, asked him all the questions. She got inundated with 1-star reviews, really, really negative 1-star reviews. So it's really tricky out there when you are just covering these things for people not to take it seriously. Like, I'll never forget 1-star reviews that I would get just because I wasn't like agreeing with their take on our reality show. So the point is, is that people are really serious about Teresa versus, Melissa, Team Teresa and Team Melissa. It's really wild. And I think in my mind, I think that at the end of the day, I'm not that invested in Jersey. I don't care as much. Like talk to me about Summer House, I was all in about how, like, disgusting that reunion was and about how unfair Lindsay was treated and how unfair Kyle was treated in a negative way, like he should have been treated worse. But the Teresa and Melissa thing, I'm not invested that much, but we will talk about it. So I didn't think John Fuda had a good approach whatsoever in that scene when he talked to Teresa. I didn't. I thought he came in hot, like, upset, like, really just, like, going at it, and he was talking to a woman in a way that made me grossed out. Like, I don't like seeing a man talk to a woman this way, especially when his wife is there and her husband is there, and it felt like he wanted to talk to Louis, but he came in hot for Teresa. Now, Teresa is all these things that are negative. I get it. I see it all. But she also said, "I'm sorry if I said that. I'm sorry if, you thought that I meant now. You're a drug dealer now. I think I meant to say you used to be a drug dealer, whatever." And he wouldn't let it go. "But you need to apologize." She goes, "I just apologize. You need to apologize." Okay. Say what you want about Teresa. This was an annoying scene. And I don't think it did Fuda and Rachel Fuda any favors. No favors for Fuda. Now, maybe you guys disagree. I would like to know in the comments. Most of you guys are really frustrated with Jackie right now. So, in this episode, we had the most gorgeous, beautiful party that Melissa and Joe threw. And it's a limoncello, like Capri, Amalfi Coast, gorgeous lemon themed dinner party. When I tell you, take me to there. Like, I want in that party. I don't care who's there. I want the hanging prosciutto. I want all of that charcuterie. I want a limoncello spritz. I want to wear a dress that looks like the Amalfi Coast, and I want to hang out in the Gorga house. That house is stunning. Laugh all you want about the way that she made the house look at the beginning, and people were making fun of her chandeliers and da da da. The house is phenomenal. But I love Melissa saying, like, this is a classy party. Okay. Joe, you're not going to do anything like crazy and wild. This is not a party where people taking shots. 2 seconds later, Joe's shooting like a tequila cannon inside his mouth. Then he has like a stand, like a statue or whatever it's called, like a poster of his body where there's a lemon covering his balls. Then 2 seconds later, he's doing shots with everyone. Like, Joe is a frat party guy. Like, oh my God, exactly. Trisha said the exact same thing. He's a frat boy in this like gorgeous life, which is so funny. But I personally kind of like that about him. I like that he doesn't take things so seriously. He's fun. I don't know why. I don't mind Joe Gorga as a human being on the show. And like I said, I'm not as invested as a lot of you guys are, so don't yell at me. But I don't mind Melissa and Joe at all. Michelle is asking a very interesting question. Would you rather stay home and never be invited to the limoncello party, or get invited, but you have to go with Carl Radke as your date? Duh, I would go with Carl, but I'd have to dress him. I think we can all agree that Carl Radke has absolutely no ability to dress. Now the question is Carl going as my like romantico date, or is he going as like, you know, besties? We'll have to see. Okay. Now, at this party, well, I should say before this party, we did have a couple Dolores scenes, kind of like setting the tone. We had a couple Danielle scenes. Everyone's talking about how we're going to this party. We had a Marge and Joe scene. But the important part is that at this party, and everyone's there except Teresa and Louis. And listen, I don't care what you say. It can't feel good to know that the entire cast is at an event and you're not invited. We've seen this now on a couple different shows. This is a normal thing that happens when there's like drama between the host and the person. It doesn't feel good. I can't imagine it feels good. We've seen it on Miami. We've seen it on Beverly Hills. We've seen it on OC. It's like, so Teresa's sitting there and she's trying to pretend like, I don't care that I'm not at their house. I'm with my daughters. But at the end of the day, like, it's got to suck for Teresa not to be invited. Now, what are your thoughts about her extending an olive branch by trying to gift Joe, her brother, a bottle of alcohol? At this lunch, she went with Rachel and John. She brought like a nice bottle of liquor. She knew that they were going to the housewarming party that evening. She put it on the side and she said, "Please give this to my brother tonight." I thought it was nice. I actually did. Now, the foodies wanted nothing to do with it. They took it downstairs. They dropped it off at the bar. They were like, F this. Like, they basically took it and like drop kicked it and threw it into the river. Later that day, I guess Teresa reached out to Dolores and said, "I know you're going to the party. Do you think you can just bring this to my brother?" Do I think it was, manufactured for the show? I wonder if the show wasn't filming. Do you think um, she would do it? I think it was probably for the show. I think she knew it was gonna be filmed. I think she wanted to look like the bigger person. I think that she probably did want to, you know, approach. Now, it was still a nice gesture. There's nothing negative about it. And even Jen Fessler says that later. She's like, "Listen, like, with all their drama, I don't think Teresa meant to like come out there with a curse on them with a housewarming gift." But I can also understand Melissa because Melissa, I think like I think Melissa thinks of, you know, Teresa like you would think of your biggest nightmare. Like she really does not want Teresa to come in and infiltrate her life anymore, even though she's talking about her in every scene. It's kind of crazy. But she doesn't really want her back in her life. And you can tell that she's not happy about getting the bottle. She doesn't want it. And then when she actually does present it to Louis or Dolores, I'm sorry, not Louis, Joe. When Dolores presents it to Joe, Joe decides to put on his Days of Our Lives acting cap. Did you guys feel that? Like, I feel like, um, oh, it was Louis's idea. Thank you guys. It was Louis's idea. She didn't want to. Okay, interesting. Well, then I really think it was for the show because I don't trust Louis at all. I can't trust Louis as far as I can throw him. And I'm a strong person, but I don't think I can throw him that far. Um, okay, thank you. She said it on Watch What Happens Live. So when Dolores presented it to Joe, he became very dramatic. It felt like we were watching a scene of The Godfather. He said, "Give me that card. Give me that card." They said, "Please, Joe, don't open it here. Don't open it when you're around us. Open it alone." He goes, "Put it in the fire. When you're doing that to my family with my parents up there." It was a lot. It was a lot. Now, Melissa, mentioned, like, this is why I didn't wanna bring this bottle. Now, she did throw around her wealth a little bit. She was like, "We have 17,000 more of these bottles." Now, if Louis brought the bottle, did he also bring Papa's pajamas? Because I want a moment to talk about, the fact that Louis wore the Papa's pajamas. Like, this is a moment that I will never get out of my head when "I sleep with your dad's pajamas. I sleep with them." Meanwhile, her dad is rolling in his grave because he's like, "Get your nasty red body out of my pajamas. I don't want you in my pajamas. This is a bed. You're sleeping with my daughter. Weird." Now, Mark wants to take a moment. Everyone, let's take a moment really fast because we're going to pan back to Kyle Richards. She's still crying. Hold on. Let's pan over to Kyle Cook. Still crying. Okay, back to the show. So, anyway, so they had a moment there, and I felt like it was, like, very much for the show. Again, like, "Don't talk about my family." Okay, thank God we didn't harp on the Teresa of it all the entire night, but, of course, it comes up later because Marge hears from Dolores, and this is the thing about Dolores in last night's episode. I don't think that Dolores to me is my favorite on the show because I always felt like she plays very much Switzerland, but I didn't feel like she was playing very Switzerlandy last night. I felt like she was really trying to get involved and start that. She even admitted it. "I started this fight between Marge and Jackie." Like, Marge and Jackie are hanging by a thread at the beginning of this episode. Remember in this last episode when they saw each other at the baseball party, she was like, "You're delusional." Marge thought Jackie was delusional because Jackie is now befriending Teresa. And if you tell me for 1 second that Marge isn't only upset with Jackie because of that, then we're watching a different show. Marge is like, I don't care that you're friends with Teresa. I'm mad that you didn't give me the book. Bullshit. Marge is only mad that she's friends with Teresa. Now, do I believe why Jackie is friends with Teresa? I don't understand it. It makes no sense. Like 0 sense whatsoever. It's like she's literally Tom Schwartz in this show today. Like she's the daffodil or whatever that dandelion flower is that you blow and it explodes. Like Jackie's like, wherever I go, just like blow me that way. She even fell down. It it bothers me. Her relationship with Teresa bothers me because it doesn't feel genuine. But as Jackie likes to say, I felt like she was warm to me, so I wanted to go that way. Now, Watch What Happens Live had a little bit of a moment we'll talk about in just a second. But in this scene, Teresa, okay, hold on. Let me try to figure this out. So Dolores told Marge that Jackie said that there's no way that the Fudas will ever make up with Teresa because they have Marge and Jen in their Marge and Melissa in their like heads, in their ears. She's not wrong. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong. I think she's right. I think that when you are very heavily influenced by a friend who says horrible, horrible things about someone, it's going to be hard to be able to just like be their friend ever. I don't think the Fudas went into that lunch thinking they were going to walk out in good respects. I think the Fudas walked into that lunch ready to fight. I really do. I think Teresa could have like totally apologized in the nicest possible way, kind, whatever, and the Fudas would have still wanted to fight her. They were not trying to make up. So I don't know if what Jackie said is wrong, but it does sound shitty because supposedly at this point she and Marge are still friends. So Marge is pissed. Marge is like, you know what? You're not a friend to me. You're not a friend to me. Now, have you seen anything so uncomfortable than when Jackie goes over to Joe, Marge's husband, and he goes, "You're so pretty," and gives her a big hug, real uncomfortable. And then Marge is like, "Don't hug my husband." She walks over there and she's like, "Joe, we're not friends anymore. This is not our friend. Okay? We're not her friend." Have you ever seen anything so uncomfortable? Like, I would die. Die. I died for Joe because he's scared shitless of Marge, and he's like, "Okay, honey. Okay, whatever." But then also, like, so uncomfortable for Jackie. Like, Marge, just I would hold off and say that a little bit later when she's not around. It was really crazy. Now, I understand she's mad at Jackie, but there's, like, tact. And then to do what she did, I will never be able I'm not a huge Jackie fan. I do like Jackie actually as a person, like, in real life, I thought she was really sweet and kind. I think she's beautiful. I like her vulnerability about her past and whatever. Not exactly understanding the Teresa friendship, but to see, Marge send the screenshot of Jackie's text to Dolores while they're speaking was so damn low. I don't care if you're a Marge fan, a Dolores fan. I don't care if you hate Jackie. These are things that we should not be doing in life. Because why? Because if you were sending text messages to someone that you consider a friend, Jackie and Marge were friends, you assume that that's like thick as thieves, right? You feel like it's safe. My mom always told me, do not put things in writing if you don't want them to come out. The second you put something in a text, assume the world sees it, even with friends, because as you can see, how quickly a friend becomes your enemy. It's really, 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 really shady of Marge to do, and especially the way she did it. So basically, what happened was the week before they did this baseball tournament, this Dolores charity baseball event, Dolores posted a picture and did not tag Jackie and Evan. Why didn't she? Um, Do you guys believe that it was an oversight that she didn't tag Evan and Jackie, or do you think it was intentional? It is a little strange to leave off an entire couple and not tag them. However, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't. I just don't see Dolores being like that. But Jackie was so upset by that she said in this text to Dolores, um, Dolores is a slob and I hate her. Now, Dolores really got pissed off about the slob comment, but she kind of like just walked right over the fact that she said, I hate her. I'm like, that's actually kind of the bigger one here, but whatever. Okay. Meanwhile, she's sitting there as she's talking to Dolores. Marge sends the screenshot and then she says, Joe, get her on the phone. She goes, Joe. And so Joe's like this, Dolores. I mean, it was the craziest thing. I'm like, why can't Marge do that? He gets Dolores to look at her phone. She puts on her glasses. Sorry, I'm just checking in on my dog. She sees the text and she just calls Jackie out on it right there. No one in Jackie's position can handle that. Okay, you guys, it's an awful thing for Jackie to say, but I don't know if it's more awful that she said it or that Marge shared that in front of her in that moment. Like that to me is so unforgivable. It's like an intentional trying to take someone down. I don't know. I mean, I guess you can say tit for tat, but if anyone in my life ever did that to me, if anyone that I considered very close to me ever took a text where I was talking crap about someone else and immediately shared it to the person while I was talking to them, I don't think I don't think you can ever come back from that. Like really bad for Marge. I would not trust Marge as a friend, y'all. Not after saying that. Yeah, you guys are right. Bad for Jackie, but a horrible look for Marge. So childish. Anne Marie says, think it was equally as bad to say it, but then to repeat it. Yeah, it's not good. And yeah, Trisha says, not sure I trust Dolores. She plays both sides of the fence way too much, which is really interesting because in the preview for next week, Dolores and Teresa are talking, and Teresa's like going off about Marge in such a negative way. And Dolores is just sitting there. It's true. It's like, it's kind of Sheena, right? Shalores. Let's call her Shinaloris. It's like you're basically everyone's friend. If you're friends with everyone, then who are you really friends with? To be a friend to everyone is a friend to no one. Anyway, I love Dolores though. I really do. I find her so gorgeous, but I just really didn't enjoy that whole vibe of Marge and then getting her husband involved and like, it was really bad. It felt very childish. On Watch What Happens Live, Fessler and Jackie, who have a podcast together, who are very close from what I know, had a weird kind of like moment because Andy asked about, Marge. There was basically that Jackie says Marge told her that if Louis comes back from the show, something like don't do the show if Louis comes back, something along those lines. Jen Fessler is like, Marge never said that to me. And Jackie and Jen had never talked about this. So you could tell there was like this weirdness. Jen's like, don't look at me like that. Jackie's like, I'm just looking at you. Now, another weird thing that happened was that Andy said, Jackie, did you become friends with Teresa? In specifically to like take down Marge. And Jackie said, oh no, she said, do you think Teresa became your friend specifically to take down Marge? And Jackie says, no, because I started that friendship. And Andy said, well, you're going to be interested in a couple things that you're going to see, which annoyed me. A, what's going on? What are you hiding under your sleeve? And B, I can't look at Andy Cohen the same way after the Summer House reunion. I don't know if you guys are the same way as me. I really I held on to my feelings about that reunion and Andy Cohen over the weekend. I was like, this guy sucks. And I love Andy, but right now he like hates women in my eyes from the show, from these reunions. Like it's not good. He needs to like do some major making up for it. It was interesting that these Bravo shows are built off the backs of women, yet it feels like they're the most misogynistic, like man-loving shows ever. The way that they handle the men on Jersey, the way that they handle The Vanderpump Disgusting Men, the Summer House Disgusting Men. All of these things just really turned me off. I saw a post on Bravo TV on Instagram saying, like, which 3 dads are you going to want to choose to go camping with? And it was like all these different options of 3 dads from different reality shows. So like From the Valley and Vanderpump Rules and all the Jerseys and Real Housewives, etc. And I commented the bear. And if you know what I mean that there was a thing on TikTok last week that went viral that was like, who would you feel more comfortable, in the forest with? And it was a man, a stranger, or a bear as a woman. And if you're going to put me in a forest with these disgusting men, I'll take a bear. Anyway, it was quite a show, quite a show. We will obviously still be watching because there's nothing else to watch. So watch Perfect Match, watch Love Island for me so we can talk about it. And now we're just waiting for Southern Charm, and well, we don't even know when that's starting, but OC starting on July 11th. So we have a couple weeks down. And the bear is starting soon, by the way, you guys. Speaking of the bear, it starts, I want to say June 27th. That's a great show. Have an amazing Monday. See you guys mañana, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for being here. Bye.